Okay, on deck we have Ellen Sweets, and coming up right now, the next letter reveals the post-apocalyptic world with walls. Please welcome R.T. Kilgore.
Okay, yeah. I'm reading a short story entitled Waiting Out the End of the World in West Texas. I wrote it when I was visiting Marfa, Texas, so if you have been there, you'll get some references. If you haven't, you should go and see it. There was always the sun. Even as humanity festers and falls, the sun shines bright on their demise. Sheba Malik surveys her property, over 40,000 acres of open field, with the Chisos Mountains rounding their way up to the sky like the heads of Indian elephants. White garments fluttering in the wind, she stood at the top of a concrete box, one of 15 identical rectangular mathematically laid out across the overgrown field. She loved to perch there and watch the cattle graze. She tugged at the wide brim of her bleached hat, down and adjusted her scarf so skin would not be allowed direct exposure to the harsh rays for more than a moment. Hey invasores, el este del pastero de ganado. Jefe's voice came from behind her as he rode up on Salvador, a painted mare. How many? Any children? Sheba's long dress rumpled in the wind as she savored the breeze running up her legs and cooling the warm space between her thighs. Verde dice que vienen en coches. Coches? Gas-run metal hadn't pumped in Marfa for over 30 years. Sheba had heard Exxon took over the Houston area while allowing HEB and Spectrum to maintain their hold over the majority of the South. With the collapse of currency after the fall of the central government, all commerce had moved into the barter system, and pure capitalism had flourished, which finally eliminated the middle class. The population chose between toiling at factories or trade posts for their allowance at the company store, forced to buy the exact same products and synthesized foodstuffs that they labored to create. Or, like Sheba, they could leave the comfort of the corporate holdings and retreat into the outskirts of the country, where even the corporate consensus didn't reach. Carino tienes razón, de veras siempre bien, no? Jefe was leading Flavin, Sheba's white stallion. She tucked her skirts under her tight ass and mounted the horse's back. This is just further proof that La Pared is key. Sheba pulled the horse around and they headed out to the east pasture. Vamos a necesitar mucho más que una pinche perra para que no entre ese multitud. Jefe's voice was like rattling nails in a can. Let the world come. She clicked her tongue and Flavin's white equine legs leapt into action, kicking dust into the blocks of art. They wouldn't make it in time to witness the clash with the motorized raiders, but Gertie would keep one alive for questioning. Where are you from? Sheba knelt and handed the dusty boy a jar of water, which he gulped down and before responding. What kind of barbaric corporation is this? You have broken over 17 bylaws of the corporate consensus. The boy's tone turned him into a pretentiously unattractive man, and Sheba was forced to slap him across the face to ease her nerves. Between gasps for air, he continued. We were a surveillance party. We came here peacefully to discuss possible trade, and you have made a terrible mistake. These big guns strapped to your hood don't scream peace to me. Sheba stood and took the damp cleaning towel Gertie handed her, wiping the man's filth from her calloused palms. Die quick and easy. Gertie nodded toward the pile of 12 dead people outside the perimeter. They would be stripped and laid out for the vultures to feast on. Gas tanks full of pure unleaded, and a bunch of weird-ass food in their packs. At the mention of food, all activity on the adobe wall ceased. Dark faces turned to see how Sheba would react. Gertie held up a plastic bag that crinkled and cracked as she passed it to Jefe. Now, what would a boy with a tank full of butane and a belly full of styrene? He struggled with the unnatural word from the food label. Be doing all the way out here. Jefe glared down at the man, who puffed up in response. A little birdie told my boss that you folks had some meat down here. Real, live meat. The boy's nose flared at the memory of cooked animal flesh, something he and the majority of the dwindling population of the corporate U.S. had not experienced in over 20 years. Must be one of those big metal birdies we've been seeing. Sheba caught Hefe's eye as she spoke. They had argued about the significance of the planes after the first sighting, and once again, Sheba was proven right. The woods are offering you a trade, 65 barrels for 100 head of cattle. That is unprecedented. You will not find a better barter in the corporate U.S. The trader stood and backed away from the towering form of Gertie. He was well fed, but the yellow tint to his skin and lack of muscle definition spoke to his malnutrition. Who the fuck are the Woods? Gertie's uproarious laughter forced the man into the dirt once more. The fact that you're here proves that they are some dumb shits. Let the boy breathe, Gertie. Sheba placed a hand on her friend's shoulder. Go home. Tell your boss that he has wasted his time. We have no need for fuel. Come back when you have something to trade. And I would suggest a white flag and sheathed weapons to gain a warmer welcome. The man stood and glanced around at the plump, well-nourished faces of the Marfa natives. Disdain and longing etched into his features. Oil is... how do you communicate with the corporate consensus? You have no idea what's going on, correct? I don't know, because I have been here, allowing the, do you call it the corporate consensus? The words made her smile with their newness. I knew you'd all kill each other, and I have no intention of joining in during the last death rattle. Sheba was done with the useless conversation. She knew the corporate U.S. was not done with her. She turned to Mountain Flavin, skirt sailing through the air. Gertie, be sure to give our guest plenty of provisions for his long journey, then meet me in the hangar. The airplane hangar was lined with 100 shimmering boxes of aluminum light. They refracted beams of sun across Sheba's ruffling skirts, while she paced the wall of windows. Hefe laid across the center box, as he was prone to do. Gertie leaned against the brick wall. She had always had a sense of reverence for the classic pieces of art that had once been labeled modern. She never touched them. What's the move? Gertie broke through the silence. There's no move. Sheba continued to stride across the sunbeams. We wait. We don't have the capability of moving men across 400 miles. It would be suicide to move them on their trip. We need to make them travel, get a taste for the desert. ¿Y después qué? Hefe snarled from his perch, knowing the answer to his question, but he preferred to hear good ideas and truths from his amorous lips. There will be no second offer of trade. They know they have nothing of value. We must prepare for an altercation. Altercation? No sé una pinche guerrera. Hefe was calm at the idea. I fear a war would be too simple for us to win, and our opponent knows this. Sheba let the light wash over her as she contemplated the end of her world. The adobe wall was complete within 15 days of the encounter. Hefe and Sheba examined the final structure with pride and apprehension for its imminent trial. ¿Sabe? Es por esto que tengo miedo. Hefe's words were dry, but his tone was playful. Sheba let the wind rip at the paper in her hands. Millions of them dropped, crossed by a passing plane. Hungry? Need work? Sheba Malik waits to give you an opportunity at life in Marfa, Texas. She will welcome you with open arms, feed you, give you a new purpose, hop on a freight train today and make the journey. We can only take the first way, she said, watching the paper blow across the desert. You'll be the strongest, and the rest can be diverted to Alpine or Valentine, make their own way like we did. The desert will kill most of them for us. Qualquer cosa que se ande, adora, in paz amado. And he was right. Sheba had spent the last 30 years taking in every stray child who wandered out of the desert. The starving world was coming for them, and she knew her philosophy wouldn't matter in the face of hundreds of thousands of hungry people. I'll gladly be the villain in your story. His voice cracked against her skin, and she knew it was a lie. He always lied in English. It's all so easily said. She avoided his eyes by keeping hers on the horizon. letting them die and watching them die. I won't do that to my kids. Eres nuestro Salvador, nuestra vida. We know the price we have to pay. Our mental burden will save humanity. He was lying again. Earth doesn't want humanity saved. She had been staring at the blurry horizon so long, she thinks she sees movement. Y conado, una infección. Los perimeters, instructor. Jefe had repeated this mantra so many times that she mouthed the words with him. And Sheba knew she would do just that. Strangers would pile along the wall, and she will let the vultures take them. She will shield her people from death outside their door and lie with an empathetic face. Pain is ephemeral. The continuation of life is all that matters. The blazing rays of the sun shone bright throughout the winter season, turning rib bones into shaded prisons for rabbits to escape under during the afternoon heat. Bleached white carcasses, partially covered by sand, joined to form another art installation to enhance the scenery. Only discernible as human remains by Sheba's trained eye. They stretched and crawled across 400 miles of desert to a town walled off from the dying world. Most of them never reached the adobe brick, and none ever entered. Sheba is the villain of her story. The woman that watched as the world died around her so that she could build another. She harbored the evil within herself and allowed it to change her. She would live another 40 years to watch her people prosper in their oasis as the world crumbled around them. Her eyes had grown cold with the evil they had witnessed. Her evil. No excuse passed her lips. No one ever asked for one. They accepted her evil because she never made them witness it. Now she paces outside the border of her home, hears the laughter of children inside. She can feel death finally taking her. Jefe had allowed the darkness of his deeds to wipe them away years earlier. Men need to see the justice in their actions. They wither. Women carry their burden, regardless of gratification or support. Sheba bore it well. And now she was ready to die with the thousands she had killed, in the desert, alone, staring at